mynews.studio.
7 out of 10 Americans diagnosed with cancer now survive at least 5 years. But you don't really see headlines saying cancer is no longer a death sentence, do you?
Today is January 18th, 2026. Let's get started. The American Cancer Society just reported U.S. cancer 5-year survival rates have reached 70%. That's up from 50% in the mid-1970s, a 40 percentage point increase over 50 years.
That's a huge change. But was there a big breakthrough behind it? Or is this really about lots of smaller improvements piling up over time?
It's a mix of both. There are 3 main reasons: research-driven innovation, earlier detection, and more personalized treatment. Let's break those down. First, research. Targeted therapies and immunotherapies, like tyrosine kinase inhibitors for leukemia, have changed outcomes for certain cancers.
Take myeloma, for example. Survival rates there have almost doubled since the 1990s. Liver cancer, tripled. Even lung cancer, which used to be almost always fatal, saw 5-year survival go from 15% to 28%. Do you think people realize how recent some of these advances are?
I'd say most people probably don't. The majority of these improvements have happened in just the last 2 decades. Targeted therapies go after very specific mutations in cancer cells instead of using the sort of scorched earth approach of older chemotherapy.
Early detection is another major factor. Screening programs for breast and prostate cancer mean tumors are often found at a stage when they're easier to treat. For all distant stage cancers, 5-year survival doubled, from 17% in the 1990s to 35% now. But why don't we hear more about screening?
That's the prevention paradox, right? When screening works, you don't see what could have gone wrong. But it's crucial to these results. And then there's personalized medicine, matching treatment to the individual patient. Genomic testing, robotic surgery, these let doctors choose the therapy most likely to help.
And you can see the effect in the numbers. Since 1991, cancer mortality is down by 34%. That's 4.8 million deaths prevented. But the progress isn't the same everywhere. Take thyroid and prostate cancers. Survival rates are around 98%. Pancreatic and liver cancers, still under 25%.
And there are big differences between populations, too. For some cancers, Native American groups face mortality rates twice as high as white populations. What's behind that kind of gap?
It comes down to access and early detection. Some communities just don't have the same screening resources. Lifestyle matters too. Smoking, for example, plays a big role. Actually, the drop in smoking is a major reason for that 34% decrease in mortality.
So if another country wants to follow the U.S. example, should they focus on advanced therapies or start with the basics?
Start with the basics: reducing smoking, early detection, and screening. You don't need $1 billion lab for those. But international collaboration is important too. Sharing discoveries, transferring technology, and making sure new treatments actually reach people.
Looking ahead, the American Cancer Society expects 2.1 million new cancer cases in 2026 and 626,000 deaths. Lung cancer will still be the leading cause, even as survival rates keep improving.
At the same time, the number of new cases is growing for some cancers: breast, prostate, liver, melanoma, even though fewer people are dying from them. So the focus is shifting, not just living longer after cancer, but living better. Quality of life is becoming central.
Would you say cancer is now a chronic disease for many people, rather than a death sentence?
For many, yes. There are now 18 million cancer survivors in the U.S. We're adding about 500,000 new survivors each year.
So, the real story isn't just survival rates. It's about changing outcomes, reducing disparities, and sharing these lessons worldwide.
That's right. The U.S. approach, federal research support, broad screening access, steady clinical progress, can be adapted elsewhere. If more countries put these pieces together, the global cancer burden could drop substantially.
It feels like a real turning point for global health. Sustained investment is starting to pay off.
Cancer survival is at its best point yet. The fight isn't finished, but the path forward is clearer than ever.
Thanks for listening. This episode comes from mynews.studio. Give it a try, free today.